In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a comparative bar chart using the JMP software. Here's our example problem. This is from Roxy Peck's first edition statistics book. This is the example on page 53, example 2.4, titled How Far is Far Enough? Each year, Princeton Review conducts surveys of high school students who are applying to college and of parents of college applicants. The report included a summary of how 12,715 high school students responded to the question, ideally, how far from home would you like the college you attend to be? Students responded by choosing one of four possible distance categories, and you can tell those categories are down here. Their four categories are less than 250 miles, 250 to 500 miles, 500 to 1,000 miles, and finally more than 1,000 miles. Also included was a summary of how 3,007 parents of students applying to college responded to the question, how far from home would you like the college your child attends to be? So you can see in the table both responses. Here's all the responses from the students, and here's all the responses from the parents. The last two columns have the percentages as decimals, or the relative frequencies of each one of the categorical responses here. Let's go ahead and open up JMP and show you how to make the comparative bar chart. So I'm going to go ahead and make the statement of this problem and the file, the JMP file I'm using, available. I'll put links to those files in the description of this YouTube video. Click on File, Open. This is example 2.4, so I'm going to double click on that. It opens up this data window. So there's the data in my table. I'm going to graph that. Click on Graph and click on Graph Builder. So this will open up the Graph Builder window. Next thing to do is grab both relative frequency variables. To do that, I'm come over here in the left side of the Graph Builder window, and I'm going to left click where it says relative students. While I'm doing that, I'm going to hold down on the Control key on my keyboard. While I'm holding down on the Control key, also left click on relative frequency for parents. So now I've got both variables selected. I want to left click and drag those two variables over to where the Y column ought to be, or over where the Y variable ought to be. Drop and drag those in. Then go up here to the distance variable, left click and grab the distance variable and drop and drag that over to where the X variable ought to be, and then come up here to the top and click on bar chart icon, and then bam, you've got your bar chart. So one of the things you might not have noticed, but down here these distances are not in ascending order. For example, here's the responses where the distances are less than 250, followed by the responses that have the distances greater than 1,000 miles. Then over here, the next category, 250 to 500 miles, followed by the next category, 500 to 1,000 miles. So you can notice these categories are out of order. You kind of want to see the distances here in ascending order. So what we need to do is adjust the ordering of these categories along the x-axis. Okay, so to get that done, we need to go back over here to our data table window and come over here and right click on the distance variable. So right click on your categorical variable that's on the x-axis. Okay, and then we're looking for column properties. So move your cursor to where it's highlighting column properties, and we're looking for value ordering. So left click where it says value ordering. That'll bring up this window. There's this sub window down here that says value ordering. We want to change the ordering of the categories here. I'm going to grab the greater than 1,000 category and move that down. And that should change the ordering of my categories to where I want it. To see that ordering change on the graph, just click on Apply. So that's how you change the categories along your x-axis. I'm going to click OK and X out of that. Another thing you might be interested in doing with your graph is labeling the relative frequencies on top of the bar. To do that, come over here to the left where it says label and change this from no label to label by value. You can also change the color of your bars just by coming over here to the right and clicking in the legend, right click on the color that you want to change, and then change the fill color to the desired color. You can also change the background of your graph in case you want to do that. Just right click anywhere inside of the graph, and then left click here on graph and then change your background color to the desired color. One other thing you may be interested in doing is you can also change the font of your variables. You can come down here to the x-axis and right click and then change your font. Left click on font. You can change the font size. Maybe you want to bold it, maybe you want to make it the size bigger. This label over here for my y variable label, maybe I want to change that label to read horizontally. One way to do that is to right click on the y-axis. I can click on rotate text horizontal. So there you have it. You may be interested now in exporting this graph. Let me change my text size of my label here so it matches. So it matches the label on the x-axis. Okay, so you may also be interested in exporting this graph or saving this graph as an image file type, so that maybe you can import it in or paste it into your Microsoft Word document or your Pages document or some other document type. To get that done, one way to do it is just come up here and grab or click on File and Save As. I'm going to change the file type to a PNG or a JPEG file type. Those are both image file types. I'm going to save this as a graph, as a PNG file, named my comparative bar chart. So and the file saves like this. I mean I'm going to have to go in there. Honestly, I'm going to have to go in there and crop out where it says Graph Builder. But that's not not too big of a deal. I'm going to crop that out, and then I'll paste that into my report if I need it. So there you have it. That's how you graph the comparative bar chart using JMP.